welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. Brothers and sisters, I am Jack Talcott, here to share some faith, some encouragement, some inspirations, a little bit of time in the Talcottian adventure. For those of you who have been around with me for a while, you know what I'm talking about. And blessings to you sincerely. Greetings and blessings, fellow Talcottians. Much love to Swinton's Birds, all of you who are stopping through. I did drop the link already for those who may wish to join the conversations. Today, I went back and forth. Actually, I've had a day of blessings today. Honestly, a joy-filled. Lots of opportunities are coming together. Nothing solid, nothing has changed, but I started out the morning with a men's group put together by a local church, had some beautiful Christian fellowship. We discussed some scripture, and then after that, I got to enjoy a lunch with a dear friend from the past, the Postal Service. A good man who is also a man of faith. And so blessings. Yes, please do the like thing. I mean, I don't ask for much, but sometimes the likes, it makes me feel a little better. I appreciate that. Respect to you, Flo. Welcome to you. And here, my thoughts today. I know sometimes I get cranky and sometimes I get, I got expectations and hopes, and today I am feeling pretty chill, and my hope is to become part of what I guess I've been known for a little bit, a safe space, right? A good space, a fun space for community to gather. And so that's my anticipation for today, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Share some fellowship with those who want to join. Before folks show up, though, let me pop into here and cover the couple of things like the thumbnail, the topic. Happy Saturday to you. Believe in yourself. Trust the journey. Make the most of every moment. I mean, these words, yeah, it sounds good, right? But if you really think about that and commit that to within you, I'm telling you what, this is what I've been practicing for myself, living more intentionally, right? So my perspective on this too is having faith in things unseen, while learning to know yourself. It can bring forth a journey worth remembering. And I think that's why we're here, to be honest. I think we're here to create memories together and alone, individually. That's the learning process. It's where our wisdom emerges through the experiences over time. So every day we have the opportunity, make the most of your time to discover what life might have available. Because every day, we can get ideas of what might be possible, but how do we know what might be available? Is there a difference between what's possible and what's available? I don't know. These are the things I wonder about. In the mind of Jack, the distinction of what is the difference of these words. Blessings to you folks joining in as the notifications are shared. Today, the topic, I am the one that chooses to keep doing this. There are some creative names and some really fun characters I've met here in the online stuff. But here, okay, so let me get back to a point to try and make sense. Uh, from the thumbnail, believe in yourself, right? Trust in the journey, make the most of every moment. This is where I was bringing it to the thumbnail, to the topic today, too, in believe, trust, and know. And there are distinctions between these things, and yet there's a connection to all those words as well. Believe, trust, and know. Can you know things that you don't believe? Can you believe things you don't know? I mean, and do you trust what you believe, or do you trust what you know? I mean, all of these ideas, it's a mental game that we're playing, brothers and sisters, the game of life, the infinite of expression of life that has created you and me. We're a part of this amazing this amazing happening, right? Each day is a happening. The world is happening. You're a happening. We are all happenings. We are what the earth happened to bring forth. And over time and by the universal systems of order, here we are, alive. Now what? What does that mean? I mean, we believe we are alive. We trust we are alive because we feel things and we think we know things. But what do we know? That's another question I keep asking myself often. What do I know? What have I forgotten? What have I not yet learned? Those are things to wonder, I think. It just helps gain clarity in a direction for what questions you want to ask. But today I was reminded of a simple and an obvious that I know I've had to have heard before, but today it just kind of stood out for me. So thought I'd share it. The idea of the Holy Spirit that's described with the Bible and through the Christian traditions. The Holy Spirit draws us to be more like Christ. The Holy Spirit draws us to be more like Christ. It draws us to be more perfected. It draws us to be, well, what does it mean to be more like Christ? Well, pure and the absence of sin. And you know the Holy Spirit is within you when you feel an absence of sin. You feel an absence of resistance. Absence of resistance to the good things like forgiveness or compassion or mercy or love. And in the absence of conflicts as well, that's where you know the Holy Spirit is there. And so we can seek to know God. We can seek to know Jesus, Yeshua. We can seek to know the Christ. We can seek to know the Holy Spirit. All of that can be known within. So the whole idea of the whole idea of believing in yourself, you got to know who you are. And the best way to know who you are is, well, there's lots of ways. That's where we can take lifetimes discovering who we are. But that's the whole game of life. We are here to discover who we are. And with that discovery, see the connection, the intimate connection between you and the entire cosmos. Oops. There's a connection between each of us, you and me, and the entire cosmos, with the entire process and the creator that allows the process. So as we know ourselves more, going within, discovering who you are, why you are doing the things that you are doing, we can get to know the Holy Spirit, get to know the goodness. That reminds me of another thought I had today regarding the confusion in this world we've got. I I I was observing my perspective on the world, right? And my overwhelming gratitude and appreciation that I truly do feel. I mean, again, I'm not bragging, but I am proud of the practice of gratitude I've got. I am constantly growing in appreciation from the moment I wake up until when I go to sleep. As I'm laying to sleep, my words are thank you, God, in so many different ways. So, where's that going with that? Oh, so I have what transformed me individually, what transformed me and my view of the world, how I feel, it was a transformation of my mind, simple change in the priorities and the limits of my perspective, changing what I focused my time and attention on, an intentional practice, changing what my time and attention, changing that helped me to transform. And the reason I'm bringing all this up, I'm confident that the world today, the common man, the majority of the population today, the world of today, oh, my mind went the other way. The world of today does not reflect God's goodness. Hmm. The world of, I was going to say just now, people don't see the goodness, but my original thought was different. The world of today does not reflect God's goodness. Why? Why does the world today not reflect God's goodness? Because mankind has allowed corruption. Corruption has seeped out throughout not just the limited few in charge, but corruption has seeped out to all their employees, all their enablers, all the naysayers and bystanders. The corruption has reached all of us. Along with the flip side of that, too, the world of today does not reflect God's goodness. I honestly suspect that the evil of the world has been underestimated by the majority, by the masses. I'm guilty of this conclusion. I mean, this is what I was guilty of. I was kind of blind to how evil the world actually is. I was blind to inside of me, okay? I know I'm describing what many people are, and so I'm trying to find the right words. That's my pause and my stumble, but I don't think people realize how fucking evil war is. This common practice that we have lived with our entire lives, with war in the background, that the sickness and the evil that rises in places and periods of conflict, the stories that I'm hearing of some of the war zones right now today, there is evil, serious, sick evil being perpetrated through men and women consumed by greed, consumed by fear, consumed by confusion. They don't know what they're doing. Praise God. There's those of us who are not, though. There's more of us who are not consumed by fear and rage and hate. There's many people that are stuck in these ruts, these habits of life. There's a lot of people stuck behind excuses and blame, but brothers and sisters, I believe if we want a better world, it's up to us. That's why we're here. We're here to create it and to see it through, not just talk about a better world. We're here to help it emerge, help release the better world, right? The thing that keeps good down, the thing that keeps good held back is, well, illogical oppression. and illogical oppression, illogical deception, the bankers' lies, this monopoly game, it has literally retarded the evolution of mankind. You know how much farther advanced our society could be if we freely shared education, if we actually helped if we actually helped educate and care for each other's children like each other's children were our own, like we actually truly gave a damn about each other, man, this world, we could be like Jetsons style today, man. We could be living totally different lives. But here we are. Here we are today. So along those lines, I started thinking, okay, what if the world was different? What if we were focused on bringing forth God's goodness, right? Where each of us had it within ourselves, hey, I'm here. I'm here on earth to serve the greatest good. I'm here to serve God's will, right? God's will for life, to protect, nurture, grow life. That's why we're here. If all of us had that mindset, man, I was wondering, do you think we'd have more or fewer products on the shelves? See, because I have a feeling there's a lot of products that are sold in our markets. What brought this up to mind was trying to consider how many products are there in this world? Could you even manage to create an inventory of all the different things that people create? I mean, and what got that thinking is, I mean, even the pen, you gotta break that down. Someone makes the ink, someone makes the cartridge, someone makes the spring. Maybe it's one organization doing all those things, but it's a lot of different people and a lot of different techniques bringing a lot of different resources together for one product. So how many products are actually out there? And then that got me to wondering, what would happen if we actually chose people over products? Because we've got harmful products on the shelves being sold under false pretenses. That could be many different industries. My mind went to the pharmaceutical industry, but I don't know enough. I don't know. I know enough to have distrust of the profit margins that are in some of these industries. But so if we collectively placed people above profits, I think a lot of the unhealthy products would disappear. We wouldn't have we wouldn't have employees working at manufacturing jobs where there was, like, they know it's garbage, right? And we've got all these manufacturing, all these. I remember with my son, I was guilty of it, buying and receiving all these Chinese plastic crap toys It's like, what the hell is this? It's garbage. It would go from the store to the garbage. It's like, what is this? This is no way for us to live. I hope that memory didn't cause confusion. The topic I'm discussing, I mean, I guess I'm way off the topic of the stream, but wondering what would the world be like if the products and services were actually created for the customer, where the jobs existed to develop the employees and to actually be of service and value. I think the services would change a lot. I was talking to someone recently too about the racket of our friggin' cellular plans, right? This so many, the infrastructure is there. I mean, these companies work together, but you and I were all paying separate bills, just building profits every month for what? For what? It's this excuse of profit and debt. Guys, brothers and sisters, this is profits and debts prevent us from sharing, right? Profits and debts are for the selfish. Nature is not selfish. God is not selfish. We're made in the image of God. We're not supposed to be selfish. And here's something, bringing this around again. I've said this before, but this is what I'm learning from my personal experience, okay? So you don't have to accept everything I say, but trust that what I'm saying about me, it's my honest testimony. This is my life. I'm just telling you about my life. And what I've been learning in my life about what's in the Bible, about the words of God and love, those rules, those laws are for no other purpose than us, right? So selfishness in itself, in the way of the world today, selfishness is not a good thing, but you guys are silly, Frank. That selfishness, if you become selfish with yourself, with this idea, and I've done this, and I heard this from other yogis, other gurus, I did become selfish for me to experience as much of God's love as I can. So how do I experience God's love? How do you experience God's love? Figure it out, right? Figure it out. The way I figure it out is the way I feel inside. And when I feel inside, feel good, right? Like righteous and clear conscience. I know I've given it my best. I know that I've done what I can. What is going on? I don't know what you're spamming there, buddy. I don't know what this means. But well, we've got a guest here. Welcome, Mr. StinkyBrew.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. I'm not too bad, thank you.
Blessings. Have you been tuned in? Are you joining with ideas for the conversation, or
Just 1 second. I'm double vision.
I'm sorry, you're what?
No, that's fine now. Sorry, I just had double verbals. I had the, when the YouTube opens as well. How are
Gotcha.
you?
I'm feeling blessed, my friend.
You you make me feel good about myself. Just listening to you, and I just make me feel great. To be honest.
Well, thank you. I
Mm,
appreciate that.
yeah.
That's honestly, that is my hope. So sincerely, that feedback
No, it
makes
does.
me
You
feel
just
good.
honestly, there's a lot of people. You speak to them and you get bad vibes off, but people like yourself, it just seems so nice. Mm,
I appreciate that.
mm. I was just on another live stream with someone. It was a lady. She was very aggressive and demeaning, and it made me feel quite bad actually. And I don't want to argue with simple people like that, but it just it's just I just went away. Do you know what I mean? I think it was the best thing, to be honest. Hmm.
I can understand that. Well,
Yeah.
welcome to this stream. Welcome back,
Hello,
Wild
hello,
Heart.
Wild Heart. Hello,
Everyone, cheers.
hello. Hmm.
Um, have you tuned into here before?
Myself, no. I've just literally I was skipping through things and I just heard your voice and I thought, oh my god, that's so relaxing. It was sort of what do they call it? ASMR. You know what I mean? I just sort of got a twinkle in my head and it was absolutely brilliant. I just thought to myself, oh, I'll come on here because obviously I had a bit of a bad situation earlier on speaking to someone else. So, you know,
Well, my
mm,
friend, I appreciate you joining. If
thank
you're
you.
new here, this is that's what I'm about. Live
Mm,
without fear. That's what that says.
yeah.
And I'm living an interesting life here. I'm in America, the northwest side of America, living an interesting life. We're all living at a very, very interesting time of history. And what I was kind of going with today is my faith. My faith, I'm not a religious guy, but well, I'm becoming religious in my faith and devotion to God, to a creator.
Mm,
And my hope is to, well, I believe, honestly, I believe this live without fear. I believe it could be a message from our creator for the world. Because for me, where I received the idea was through meditating and praying, trying to understand the story of Jesus. And
mm,
so I put those two together, and my goal is to be a disciple of his, to follow
mm.
his way. And my purpose, my prayer is to help bring peace to this world.
Well, I must admit, I've never really been religious, and I've had issues in the past with alcohol and things like that, and it always put me off. When I'd go to like a AA meeting or anything like that, when it was religious, because I always thought it wasn't about my issue. It was more about turning me on to something else, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Or
I think
what
so.
sort of, rather than dealing with my issue, it was more about here's better. You know what I mean? And I
Okay.
didn't think anything was better. I thought it was more. I just needed to deal with the issues that I had. You know what I mean? More than anything. But I'm not really religious, but I'm open to things and I'm open to beliefs. I'd say I'm more agnostic than atheist. Do you know what I mean? So
Beautiful.
I'm open to anything.
That's where it starts.
Mm,
Honestly, that's what I discovered. And I heard it said elsewhere, right? It makes
mm,
sense that our path to enlightenment begins with an open mind. So as
yeah.
long as the mind is open, even if it's skeptical,
Mm,
as long as it's open to considering other ideas, that's all we've got to do.
yeah. I
Um,
had this. Yeah, I had a sort of demon in my head at one time. It was I used to call it Grace. It was called Grace, and she's well, it was a female, but it was a demon. She just constantly used to speak to me and make me do things, and then they ended up getting involved with medication and stuff like that. And I realised that I was poorly. I was ill, and all these things that I had with I used to call a little pathetic Mrs. Thorpe, Grace. It all sorted itself out. You know what I mean? So that was all good.
I've, I've got a question, Jack. You said that you came to religion through meditation. I'm just wondering what experience you had to link meditation with like Christian and Jesus. Was there like a specific thing that happened, or what happened to get you from meditation to Christianity? If you know what I mean.
It was, I honestly dealt with a whole number of different things. Here, I'm going to address something in the chat real quick. Sorry. Hey, you're, this is a good space, I hope. If you're still there, this is a good space for you. And you're welcome. Welcome, Harry.
Just a lot of crazy people. But
well,
they need help. They need help.
We all do. This life as a human being, it can be pretty confusing, and especially the world we're born into at this time. It's
Totally.
not, man. It seriously
Totally.
is.
Yeah.
So in my life, I had a period, and Mr. StinkyBrew, my own past.
Sorry, it's just a name.
Hey, beautiful. My own past was booze, alcoholism. I had a severe problem most of my life. I started changing my behaviors in 2016, moving myself away from booze, but it was in 2018. That's where my life really started transforming. And he had asked how did my life go from, how did I connect the meditation to the Christ, to Jesus? After I stopped drinking, I looked at my life a little bit different. I was still miserable and depressed, but I thought, you know what? Now that I don't have this habit, I'm actually a pretty decent guy. And I was a decent guy even when I was a drunk. I was like, what if I actually spent the rest of my life trying to be better, trying to be more like Jesus? I didn't go to church. I'd never had Christianity in my life really, but I knew of that example, and I figured, hey, why not try to become the best man who I can? When that happened, my life transformed. I started learning different things and my own path. I rejected. The Bible was actually the last place that I went to in my efforts to understand God, because I saw the Christians I knew of, and I was like, yeah, it ain't doing them much good. I don't need to learn what they're learning.
Yeah.
I went science, history and science, psychology, philosophy. That took me back into into the evolution of religion as well. So I've studied a lot of different aspects of humanity and mind and spirit. The way I described it a while ago, and sorry for such a long answer,
No,
but
that's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine. There you
go. I identified this and described it a while ago in my own path of spiritual development, and I have honestly and openly, I have committed myself. I wish to become more of a holy man, right? I followed the wisdom and the path of the Buddhas in order to understand the love of the Christ.
Mm.
And what Jesus, that story of Jesus, it is a love story. It is a love story of God and us. It's a message that our Creator loves us all so much that what are we doing, man? I mean, this world we've been given, I think it's pretty
and we're moping around worrying about our own bullshit, should I put it that way?
that's kind of
the guilt. I used to hate the guilt in drinking. When I used to drink, and then I wake up in the morning. I'd not done nothing wrong. I'd just been drinking in my own house, but I felt so guilty for doing something that I know I shouldn't have been doing, even though I'd not done anything wrong. If you understand, that's the way I used to be constantly. Yeah, and obviously you're letting your partner down and things like, and they're accepting it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not being rude or things like that. You wake up in the morning, you've weed all over the toilet, or you've done all this because you've done these things drunk, and they just accept it, and they shouldn't accept it. It's wrong. They shouldn't have to accept it. They should trust you to be the best person you could possibly be, and that's where I'm getting now. I'm not quite there, Jack, but I'm getting there.
Hey, as long as you're on the path, I'm sure we are all where we are supposed to be, right? This is what I'm learning to trust, is that we are how we're supposed to be, and each day we get to choose. The only choice that we really need to focus on, what I do for myself, I just got to be better than I was yesterday.
Exactly.
I got to be better than I was this morning. And if that's your goal, if your goal is simply to go to bed better than when you got up every day, that's
sort of an easy something to do as well, isn't it? It's a really, I mean, I watched I watched a documentary, and I was drinking at the time, and I just watched a documentary. It's totally nothing to do with alcohol. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he turned around and he just said, as long as everything you're doing is for a reason, then you're okay. Do you understand? So if I wake up in the morning and I look at my garden and I go, well, these weeds need picking, just pick these weeds up, chuck them in the bin, clear up the bin. You know what I mean? Clear up any rubbish I've got. Everything's a positive. You know what I mean? So then when you go home, even if you've only done something so little, you've done that. Do you understand what I mean? And I just thought it was profound. You know what I mean? What he said.
I've got a question, and I'm not being like argumentative, like, with no reason. It's just things I don't understand. I was going to ask, but where do you get your morals from? If you're saying you're Christian and you try to be better than you were the day before, are you getting your morals from the Bible? Is it what the Bible says, or are you just using your own idea?
Are you talking to me, Wildheart? Are you talking to me?
No, Jack, sorry.
Sorry.
You can answer it as well. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
I'm not. Sorry, I'm not Christian whatsoever. I'm not religious whatsoever. But it doesn't take religion to realise what's right and what's wrong. If you understand what I'm saying.
That's what. That's what I'm saying.
If you're walking down the street and you look at someone, do I punch them in the face or do I walk past them and say hello, good morning? It doesn't take a religion to tell you what the right thing to do is. Do you understand what I mean?
That's what I mean. So I'm presuming that Jack has his own morality in his head. He knows what he thinks is right and wrong. And I'm saying if that didn't line up with the Bible, if the Bible said something is right and you don't agree with it, would you go with your own morality or
hence like something like I don't know, homosexuality or something like that? How would you see that, Jack? Jack? Homosexuality, as long as you're doing everything for anyone and you're happy and everyone's getting along, everything's okay. Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
I allow God to make the judgments. I mean, I don't want to quote the Bible because I don't know it well enough, but I'm not here to judge. What I am here, this question, my friend, it reminds me of another note I had previously, the distinctions between the Old Testament, the New Testament,
Old Testament and the New
different
Testament.
Testament, the different covenants. The Old Testament was truly the law of sacrifice, and sacrifice is part of the law of God. In order to receive, we must sacrifice. It's just the laws of exchange. It's just different ways of explaining exchange. So the Old Testament brought us the law of sacrifice. Through Jesus, through Yeshua, we learned the law of grace. Now, what's the difference between grace and sacrifice? Mercy. Mercy is what is not really highlighted in there because Jesus was punished. But the message really is our God has mercy. We can find mercy for each other. We can find grace for ourselves, for each other. That is the way of Jesus.
There's something about that word grace. I don't know why. That word grace, it really, I don't like the word grace. I don't know why. There's something, Ben and grace. I just don't like that word. And I hate it. I don't know why. It's just the way I am. I just hate the word Ben and grace. But anyway, it's just about knowing, in my opinion, it's just about knowing you're doing the right thing day in and day out, and not knowing that you're being a burden. You're being what's the word I could say? You're being a benefit rather than a burden.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. Thank you, Jack. And that's to you as well, Wheelheart, as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
We've all made mistakes. We've all made mistakes in life. We've all done stupid things. We've all made decisions. We've all done this and that. But as long as in your head you know that what you're doing is the right thing now, there's no issue, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing with like the philosophy of it or like your actions and what it makes you. That's a brilliant way to go about things. You know, yeah, try to be better every day, and yeah, try to be good to everyone. That's brilliant. I was just thinking of the reasoning behind it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah,
And you're an Englishman like me as well. So
yeah, Manchester.
Yeah, Derby. So we're all right.
Oh, actually, yeah.
Hey, let me swing back on a couple of things too, if I might, because I agree with this. Old Testament maybe was the law no one could keep. New Testament was the mercy of God. The idea of grace. Oh, the question. I wanted to come back to your question though too. Is for myself, I don't necessarily from the Bible. From the Bible is where I gained confirmation. How about that? That's actually the best explanation.
Confirmation. I like that word. I really do like that word. Yeah.
Through the Bible, I received confirmation of what I felt within as far as what is right and what is not right.
Yeah.
Who is this? Liam. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would block that or delete it. Whoever it is, he's giving his address away, which we shouldn't. Oh no, he's giving someone else's address. Yeah, I would delete that.
Is that what that is? Is an address?
That's doxing. That's quite rude. Is that it's not your address, is it, mate? No.
No, nothing to do with me. No.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Daisy May. Thank you for trying to keep some order there. Hey, the other part too. There's been questions and accusations about what I do and don't support, right? As far as inappropriate relations with children or others, right? And that's not actually exactly the question, the example you gave of homosexuality, but in regards of homosexuality, consenting adults, I have no judgment on what they do as long as they
consenting adults. That's a completely different story to anything else.
Well, that kind of gets to my question. Like, if you think that homosexuality is okay, and the Bible says that homosexuals should be stoned to death, if you say,
with all due respect, Jack didn't say that. Jack turned around and said it's not his job to judge anyone. At the end of the day, it's your own decision, and Jack won't. He will not judge you for anything you want to do sexually. At the end of the day,
well, the Bible does say that homosexuals should be stoned to death
in the Old Testament.
But that's God's law. It doesn't matter. I mean, Jesus came and he said, "Not one jot or tittle of the law shall be changed." So he agreed with all the Old Testament laws in the New Testament. So there's not really a difference.
The New Testament, when the Old Testament, in my personal opinion, when the Old Testament was written, it was a completely different. It was a different century, hundreds of centuries. It was a different century back then to what it is now. It's just like what was acceptable on TV back in the 1980s is probably not acceptable anymore. Things change. Things have to change.
Yeah, but with the Bible, the Old Testament laws, they weren't saying the moral laws directly from God, saying what is moral and what is not moral. And presumably that wouldn't change over time. Something could have been moral 2,000 years ago and not moral now, because God is unchanging. So if it was moral then, it would be moral forever. Do you know what I'm saying?
Straight away, like I said, but when I came in here, I made a point of obviously saying to Jack and also yourself that I'm not religious in one bit. Do you know what I mean? I just go along and religion can help you. It doesn't have to be God you follow. You could follow a tree in your back garden. That could be your sacred thing, or a child you've lost, or anyone. You could turn around to them and just turn around and say, "Listen, I swear on." I mean, in my opinion, it's Jakey. So in my Jakey, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be religious. All it has to be is that your mind is in the right frame of mind to do positivity in the world rather than negativity, and that's the way I see it.
I get that. Yeah, there are definitely benefits to religion. I agree with all that.
Yeah,
and
there are benefits to religion.
Yeah,
but we don't have to have we don't have to have religion, in my opinion, because I'm not religious. We don't have to have religion to do the right thing. You don't have to say, well, I can go out and murder people. Why? Because I'm not religious. No, it's just the right thing to do is be a respectable, upstanding citizen of the world, and that's all we can all be. At the end of the day, it's be treated how you want to be treated. Treat how you want to be treated. That's the way I see it. Anyway, that's just me.
Yeah, but I was trying to ask Jack, like you were saying, you read the Bible and it confirms what you already believe morally. But what I'm saying is, what if there's something in the Bible that doesn't confirm, that you disagree with morally? Is there anything in the Bible, rather than me picking something out, is there anything in the Bible that doesn't line up with your morals? You know what I mean?
There's many, many interpretations of what's in the Bible. As far as, this applies, this doesn't apply. There's many in the Old Testament, especially, that I don't agree with. And actually, I have my opinions on how Christianity and how many of the religions have become corrupted. For me, what it boils down to, throughout time, God gave us the laws, gave us the rules of how we are to be as men and women, right? And then throughout history, man strayed from those. It chose not to follow. There was punishments. There was, all sorts of stories, and karma was created. And so Jesus came in that story. He broke the laws down to two laws. And I'm here to suggest, we can really do it in one law: love. Just love. Love God. God is all that there is, so love all that there is. And then if you're going to love God, and if you can love all that is as though it comes from God, which it does, you know, you can love all that is as though it comes from God. Well, then that includes yourself. Can you love yourself as though God created you specially for you? And then can you love others because God created them for you? Because that's really what happened. God created all of us for all of us.
Yeah. That's
I
very,
see it.
yeah, that's very, yeah. No, you're fine.
I see it sort of a movie or a TV program. I don't know if that's downsizing it, but you watch the bits you enjoy, and then I don't know, all of a sudden a sex scene comes on, and you've got your kids next to you, so you pause it and you turn it off because it's not appropriate. Do you understand what I mean? It's you
Yeah.
take what you want from it, and then you disregard the things that you're not interested in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. Yeah, that's what I think most Christians do. They read the Bible, they take what they already agree with, and reject the rest. So they're making up their own religion. I don't see the point. Do you know what I mean?
But
It's not the Bible. It's not the Bible what's giving them guidance. They're going through the Bible and just agreeing with what they already agree with. So the Bible isn't giving you any further information. Do you know what I mean?
I see the Bible as the 12 steps. It's not going to tell you how to make them 12 steps, but what it is giving you a little bit of an understanding of how to make them steps. If you're with me, that's the way I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but it's sort of an overall guidance of an area rather than being this is what you do, this is what you have to do. Because there's other religions, there's like the Quran and things like that, and some of the things in them are really, 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 really graphic. And if you was to follow them, then to be honest, at certain parts, then you probably wouldn't spend a lot of time in society. But what you have to do is you have to take what you need from it and disregard what you don't. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to jump in here. I want to swing back to this, but Daisy May, is that who that was? Was that McNemesis that did that crap? It makes sense if it was. And I'm curious. I saw that.
Who's McNemesis? Is he a friend of yours? Is he or something?
He's another YouTube
troll.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, if you're talking about the doxing thing, he was called Liam Fielding. The one who is that not? Sorry.
I've generously shared mods, invited many people to be mods on my channel, and one of them was a rogue, started timing everybody out in the stream, so I had to go back and clear everybody out to get rid of it.
Now he's giving addresses and things like that. It's just no one. At the end of the day, everyone likes you, Jack. There's nothing to be worried about. Don't worry about it. I think it's one of them things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People are fascinating. It's really interesting.
It's really interesting how people get off on causing other people grief. That's what gets me.
Yeah, but Nerdy Rodents is a good guy. I know him.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nerdy Rodent.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm StinkyBrew.
I like this question. Is God love? And how do the various Bibles explain what love is and isn't? It is my view that yes, God is love, and I know it is explained, but I can't there.
Yeah, no, I can. Yeah, it's an argument ongoing. Basically, God, the Bible describes love as not being jealous, doesn't keep a record of wrongs. The Bible also describes God as being jealous and keeping a record of wrongs so he can judge people. So God cannot be love because they have mutually exclusive attributes. If you say that love is not jealous and God is jealous, then God cannot possibly be love because they have mutually exclusive attributes. So they're not equatable. It's impossible. Sorry.
Hey, those are fascinating, and I really enjoy those. I enjoy deep philosophical ideas on what
Yeah.
God is or is not. But what it came down to me here, real briefly, uh, just curious. You don't spread hate as a Christian. I try to share love. I truly, truly do follow. Whoops, he dropped off. There was talk about the Bible. People get confirmation in there. I heard it said that the Bible is a great book. It's a perfect spiritual book because it speaks to the heart of the reader. And
Yeah.
there are many people who read the Bible and feel justified in their hate, in their division, in their judgment.
Yeah.
Myself, I focus on sincerely the messages of love. To be honest, myself, it was in 2018. I've shared this before. It was after I got sober. I was trying to deal with a breakup, the ending of an unhealthy relationship is what it was. But I went online to YouTube and I was trying to find how other people explained love. What is love? What is unconditional love? How can you love someone and not have them? How do you love someone and let them go? I didn't understand those things. When I set out to understand love, I was doing a guided meditation and I was deep in this state of peace and absolute relaxation, and then envisioning myself transitioning into the way I wanted to become. I wanted to be healthy. I was overweight, overdrawn on my checking account, unhappy, overdrawn on everything, basically.
Yeah.
And God allowed me to shift. I pictured myself standing under this heavy, dark cloak, and I stepped out from under it, and I realized it was the past. I'd been carrying around so much of the past within myself.
Yeah.
It had darkened my spirit. I didn't understand this back then, but this is what I realized. I stepped out from under the past, and that night, one might say I received the Holy Spirit. I was touched I had a shift in my consciousness. I had a spiritual awakening. My heart and mind transformed is what happened. And now where I'm at, love. What is love? We can know, we live in duality, right? We live in duality where we have the opportunity to know light and dark, hot and cold, good and evil. We know one by the contrast, by how far opposite things go. That's how we really get to know. And I think that's why God has allowed humanity, all of us, our ancestors and everyone before us and today, God has allowed us to descend in our consciousness, in our minds, and we've reached such a state of ignorance that, well, like I said earlier in the stream, we've spent our lifetime with the evils of war happening in the background, not just happening in the background, but actively being funded by people who supposedly represent you and me. We have wars going on. People are men and women like you and me, these shareholders, stockholders. There's people that are making profits right now because men and women are dying and buildings are being destroyed. The military industrial complex is an evil that we do not have to continue enabling.
Although to be fair, like in the past, I know what you're saying. Like nowadays, like all the industry that goes behind war and people making profits, but wars have been going on since the start of time, the start of humans, basically. And a lot of those were like religious wars. They weren't necessarily making money from them, but they were based on other things, and they did it for different reasons. What you said makes sense today, but like for the majority of human history, I don't think that's been the case. It's been over territory and land, and different things like that.
Over materialism. Most of the wars happen over greed, selfishness, materialistic selfishness, and fears. Fears of insecurity, fears of lack, fears of whatever. Fears and selfishness has been driving mankind. Well, that's us. We don't want to be driven. And I tell you what, anyone listening, the way to separate yourself from the world, the way to create more freedom for yourself is to stand apart, to don't be of the world. Don't be filled with selfishness and fear. That's what the world wants. What we want, I use the words from the Bible and for the many words from the Christian faith just because it's most commonly known. And in my opinion, it accurately describes a lot of this. We are children of God. All of us are. There is a divine spark that is within us all that moves us through each day. And if we can find within ourselves the divine spark that's within us, it's easier to see the divine spark in others. And that's where the practice of grace comes in. Our friend took off. I dropped his name from my mind. He was asking about grace.
Oh yeah, I have a. I don't mean to keep bringing up problems, but like with grace and like God is supposed to be all just, perfectly just, but He also has mercy on people and gives grace to people. Again, I think that's mutually exclusive. Justice is getting what you deserve. Mercy is not getting what you deserve. So how can God be all just and all merciful? Again, I would say that's impossible. Wow. You can't be both. You know what I mean?
There's another aspect in there though, which is time. Right? And you're bringing up some really, I love perspectives you're bringing, even though they're kind of contrary. I respect that. The other aspect though of time, and I believe our Creator is all things, just like we are images. We are fractals of the whole. We are everything. Everything is within you. Everything is within me. And we can be so much more. We can be so much more than just consumers and producers, taxpayers, customers. I don't know, man. Back to the topic today. Believe, trust, and know. I mean, those are all, I guess they're not really just mental ideas. They're inner sensations. They're inner feelings, but they're all connected. And sorry, the main point too, believe, trust, and know. Start with yourself, right? Can you believe in yourself that you can make it, that you can learn, that you can grow? I don't recommend believe in yourself that you know it all, Don't believe it. Don't convince yourself that you know it all, that you're perfect, that you're flawless, that be mindful, but believe in yourself. Trust that you can be honest. Actually, trust that honesty is the way. There is no excuse for lying. Not in my, I'm pretty confident this is my from now on, but I try not to make that absolutes. Go ahead.
Sorry, the problem with that, there's like a well-known question. You know where I'm going with the Jews in Nazi Germany. If the Nazis came to your door and you were hiding Jews,
Okay. Yes.
is it moral to lie in that situation?
Gotcha. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I forget. Okay. That is a good example. And I pray I never get placed into that situation.
Yeah.
But beyond something like that, I have, well, I came to my conclusions. The things that I'm saying is what I've been practicing for myself or learning for myself. And I came to these conclusions using logic, reasoning, experimentation. How do I feel if I do this? How does it work if I do this? I really started pressing into staying present, stay focused on right now. Okay. And that's the key. The key to faith is to be right now. And then my focus on being grateful and being curious, being grateful, being present. That's how a child spends its time, right? The wonder of a child, an innocent child, it loses track of time because it's just lost in being. We can do that and still be the adults, still accomplish the tasks. Like our other friend was saying, if you see some weeds that need to be done, pull the weeds, get the stuff done, right? Do the tasks, but do it with flow, with peace, with joy. That's what I've been learning for me.
And I agree with you, like in most everyday situations for most people, I would agree that most of the time it's best to be honest. But I'm just saying, I try to stay away from like all encompassing like statements. Like you said, it's always best to tell the truth.
Yes.
It's just, you know that someone out there is going to come up with an example where it's not best to tell the truth. So I think it's best not to make like all-encompassing statements.
You are correct.
Just to get me out of it most of the time.
Hey, and typically I do avoid. I try to avoid making absolutes because I know for every truth there is an untruth, right? We live in a very amazing paradox where everything at some level can be true. And that's, that lesson right there. If people can accept that at some level, everything may be true. We don't have to spend as much time arguing with each other, right? Because I don't know. That's where I see in the greater picture of mankind, we are eternal spiritual beings having a temporary human experience in the realm of form. And there is a battle being conducted for our spirits, and it's in our minds. We can either have peace and clarity, or we can have confusion and resistance, chaos, conflicts. I want to serve the creator of peace. I want to be one with peace, one with love. And that's how I try and live my life. That's our goal. I truly believe this. My purpose, what I'm trying to do here with the Live Without Fear, is to help people wake up so that we can live in a world of love. And here is another guest, and true character and star in many different ways.
Jack, how are you?
Welcome, Ben. How are you, brother?
Wildcard, what's going on?
Hi, Ben. Nice to meet you.
Jack, I've been listening for a while here, and I'm having trouble with some of you, kind of like the way you seem to talk about things. I
Okay.
don't hear enough. It doesn't. Maybe I'm right, and maybe you're wrong. Maybe you're right, and maybe I'm wrong. But it doesn't seem like you're being very like. It seems like you want to say everything's cool, everything's fine, when it's not. It's a disaster. Life is like this incredible disaster. Most people are liars. There's evil everywhere. Am I wrong about that?
No, actually, I touched on that early in the stream. That to make your case, I think the majority of people don't realize how much power evil has here in this world. Evil has corrupted, and it is widespread. So I agree with you.
You agree. But why is your affect one of a warrior? Why does it seem to be like you're the embodiment of sort of like chilled out marijuana type guy?
My faith is truly with God. I don't fear. I don't fear, and I'm learning not to have faith in man, but my faith in God, that God will use man.
Yeah.
I believe God is using us. God has called many of us. Ben, you've got a gifted mind. I've seen some of your wisdom, but dude, you've got some chaos about you too.
Yeah, right. I think that, wouldn't they have said the same about Jesus? I'm not saying that I'm Jesus, but there's a lot of chaos around him.
Correct. Ben, this is where I'm actually excited to talk to you in some ways, because you do have a wise mind and you're very good at adversary, but also communicating.
Thank you, Jack.
I've been, in the past several years, for me, faith is new. Okay. I didn't have religion. I didn't have all of that stuff most of my life. All of this started out for me really in 2018, but I am a very quick student. And in my learning, God showed me, I studied history and saw some of the true evil, true corruption that that has been and is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was blessed, and God allowed me to learn from many enlightened and very gifted spiritual teachers.
Mm.
My faith is strong, Ben. That's why, it may look like that. And in my own life, the house is burning, the shelter's about to disappear, all the resources are gone.
Yeah.
I should be afraid. I should be angry.
Mm-hmm. Your faith in what? Isn't your faith just in yourself?
I was going to ask the same question. When you said that you took the time to learn about history and all those different subjects, and then God give you the wisdom, isn't that you just giving yourself the wisdom? I don't see where God comes in. You can't say that I took all this time to read all these books, learn all this stuff, and then God gave me the wisdom. No, that's you doing it. Yeah.
I don't want to paint the wrong picture, but I also don't want to make it seem like, I did all of this. I came across amazing opportunities to learn, right? The past several years, I lost my family, my job, my career. Everything was all of a sudden gone.
Me too.
I had a lot of time. So I used that time to learn and develop, and I invested in my education.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. It's not like all of a sudden God gifted me with knowledge. No, I sacrificed, invested, and studied.
Well, that's my point. But why do you attribute any of that to God? If you did it yourself, where does God come in? I don't see what God is doing in that situation. You know what I mean?
Admittedly, I've humbled myself to the possibilities that some unbelievable things might be true. Okay. And that includes the idea that to live without fear could be a message from God. And if that's the case, well, when I went and applied for it, I figured there's no way it was available, but live without fear, nobody had claimed it. So all of a sudden it was mine. And then I thought, well, all right, if this is from God, then my purpose is to be a messenger for the truth of God's love.
Okay, but Jack, there are times when fear is a correct response. You would agree? No?
Yes.
Okay, so you can't live without fear.
You can live without fear controlling or interfering in your life.
Okay, so you would have to change it to live without inordinate fear.
Oh yeah, unnecessary fear.
But you should fear. I mean, I'm Catholic, so I believe it's right to fear hell. If you're doing things that are crazy, I think it's fear God in a paternal sense, like a stern father who will punish you. You disagree.
Here's where we disagree. Sorry.
Do you think a child should fear his father on some level that, like, if he's really, really bad, the father will, like, tell him he's doing wrong?
Yeah, I was just going to say, live without unnecessary fear isn't as catchy. Do you know what I mean? Live without fear will sound a lot better, to be fair.
That's true.
Yeah, sorry,
but if you say fear is the problem, it seems, why not? I'm not. You're saying it seems like you're trying to avoid a negative emotion rather than embrace a positive message.
Yeah, it's hard to know what the exact perfect words are, but I came across initially the focus for what I was doing, because my career changed. I used to be an obedient postal clerk and a union leader, and then that changed. So I started studying self-development.
Wait, you got fired from a post office job?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking nuts.
Is that impossible to do?
Ben, thank you. Yes, this is what I'm saying. There's something going on in my life. This shit should not be happening, but it did. Yes, Ben. I got fired. Allegedly, I'm guilty of federal ethics violations, multiple federal ethics violations, and I'm also allegedly initially it was too dangerous to work at the Postal Service. And then the final conclusion is that I'm apparently too disagreeable to work at the Postal Service. But that's not actually a violation of any law or rule.
Right.
I was wrongfully terminated.
And you didn't commit a crime, but you were seen as like an employee who we don't want around.
Well, yeah, somewhat. Yeah, that's accurate.
Okay. Do you think you maybe had like issues with authority?
Oh yeah, definitely, dude.
Okay, so
that's what got me in trouble.
Okay, so you had issues with authority, which I mean, you should have some issues with it, like unjust authority. But don't you think it's good to have respect for authority?
Ben, for 14 years, I was a local union officer and steward. My job was to deal with authority, right? The bosses and the postal inspectors.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a place for, no, you know what? Under the current system, and I'm going to bring back to what you were saying too about the fear of the father.
Yeah.
There really is. I don't believe it is possible to fear and love truly at the same time. Maybe it is.
Perfect love casteth out fear. That's a New Testament quote.
Thank you.
But
a lot of people promote
wisdom is the fear of God is also a quote.
Yes, and I know there's a lot of emphasis, particularly my understanding from the Catholic Church, regarding the fear of God and the fear of hell, damnation. But
not least of all in the Catholic Church. But
is it okay? Fair enough.
There are a lot of Catholics who misunderstand the teaching, but yeah, I mean it's.
Thank you. Maybe that's what I'm remembering. For me, the fear is, and it's not really a fear anymore. I just pray to be worthy of all of God's love, all of what I have already received. Because all I have already received, I don't want to disappoint God. And so the way I live without fear is I try to consciously live without regrets. I live honestly. I live and die by the truth. If it is true, that's all I care about. And then I do allow love to guide my choices. And so far, it hasn't proven real rewarding in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I sure feel good about how I live.
But what you seems like you're doing is you're creating a kind of one-man religion that actually doesn't involve much in the way of actual interactions or responsibilities, and so you can sit on the internet. And go,
so I would argue that is what every Christian and every religious person does. They all have their own religion. They all have a different interpretation of the Bible. None of them agree on anything. I would argue that is what every Christian does.
Well, every Christian, so as a Catholic, I have to submit my will and obedience to the Holy Father. So I don't have a choice in that. Now, I can be a rebellious Catholic or a good Catholic, but I can't be a Catholic who goes, well, I'm going my own way and doing my own thing. You can't do it.
But you just said that most Catholics misunderstand the concept of hell. So you're saying that most Catholics don't understand, they have different ideas about what hell means. So in that way, they are making up their own religion.
Yeah, but that's largely cultural stuff. I mean, I wouldn't say to say most Catholics, but it comes from the history of Catholicism in the United States, Irish Catholicism and stuff like that. So people can be confused. Obviously, people are going to, if they live in a cultural milieu like ours, which is Protestant and Pharisaical or puritanical, they're going to tend to warp it. But you still have you still have an obligation if you become aware that your thinking is at variance with the teaching of the church. But Jack, you won't submit yourself to the authority of the church, right?
But if I can just jump in, you're saying that they misunderstand, right? So there's you, and then I've got another Catholic. He misunderstands, or he has a different opinion about what is true, and you have one opinion about what is true. He has a different opinion. Yeah. How do we work out who is actually correct?
So you consult the authorities. I mean, I have a master's degree in theology, but I'm not an official representative of the church. But a priest is a more official, but they can be wrong. But you can go all the way to the writings of the Holy Pontiff himself, or the infallible magisterium of the church. And it's pretty easy to figure out what the church teaches. There's a catechism. So if you, for example, want to say well, I think it's okay to practice birth control. Many Catholics think that's okay, but none of them actually think the church teaches this. They are just rebelling against the church's teaching. And they're free to do that, but at least they know that they're not being Catholics insofar as they're on birth control. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sorry, I think you had a question for Jack. I rudely interrupted.
But Jack, so don't you think that I understand what you're saying is you want to try to avoid negative feelings because you've experienced a lot of them, but maybe you got it wrong in the sense that maybe it's not about avoiding negative feelings, but sort of experiencing life with full engagement.
Yes. That's what it is. I'm not suggesting ignoring anything, actually. What I am suggesting is, well, beyond the religious aspect, the from the psychological explanations, the
Yeah.
shadow work, doing the shadow work, incorporating the darkness,
Yeah.
become the actualized and individuated individual. That's what I believe is the true calling of Christianity, of what the Christ is teaching.
Okay.
Is
So, yep.
I didn't answer your question though, did I?
Well, what I'm saying is, do you think that it's wrong to be angry?
Anger typically brings us damage. When we move out of anger, it typically brings damage.
Do
But
you think it's always wrong to be angry?
Yeah, sorry if I can interrupt again. I'm sorry about this. I really do apologise. But in the Bible, it says that God is an angry God. So you can't say it's always wrong to be angry if you worship an angry God. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Jealous. I think it says jealous. Jealous.
No, it says angry as well. It does say jealous, but it says
Yeah.
angry as well.
Thing is the wrath of
Vengeful, angry, jealous God. That's what it says.
not vengeful, but I mean you have to understand that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe well, God creates, and all that is good. So the emotions are there for the purpose of good.
Right.
They're messages, and they're unique for us to understand. There's a place for anger. I mean, righteous anger.
Right.
That is what moves and should move us. However, the goal is to overcome the beast, overcome the flesh, and the flesh is driven by the anger. It's driven by the fear, by the emotions. We can use those emotions to inform our mind, stay above the beast, and then use the information to guide us. I have here for anger, Ben.
Mhm.
Anger has been my Achilles heel. It has been the bitch of my life.
Right. I believe that. But you're saying you've overcome it, but I could see it right under the veneer, right under the surface.
Oh
This
yeah.
age,
Yeah.
you could like boil over in a second. Now, but see, the problem is that you say that anger is emotion, an emotion. That's correct. And
Yeah.
emotions link us to our animal nature, which is our bodies. And
Yeah.
you hate our bodies. You think bodies
I
are bad.
don't hate. I love our bodies. And I'm sorry to interrupt, Ben, but no, I love our bodies. I love life. And if I love life and all that life is, I have nothing to hate.
But I'm sorry again, but you can't say that anger is an emotion and it's linked to our bodies.
It is.
When like God has anger and he's a spiritual being what doesn't have a body.
Right.
How is it to our body when God has anger and he doesn't have a body?
Yeah, when we refer to God's anger, it's analogous to ours. So when we refer to God as a father, it doesn't mean he has a penis and impregnates a woman. And that's where we came from. So I mean, it's saying something a little different. But if you look at Christ, who was God and man, then you can see that he had a body, and therefore anger was like our anger. And he did express anger.
But then you can't say that anger is linked. Are you saying that without a body you couldn't have anger? That's what I'm getting at. Because God doesn't have a body and he is angry.
Yeah, like so emotions are a combination of our spiritual and our physical nature, so that usually you can become like an animal can't become angry at an idea that they find offensive because they don't experience it. So it's sort of in between. God doesn't feel hungry because he doesn't have a body, right? So God can't be hungry, but we can. So emotions, the spiritual part of emotions are can be like connected with God, but God can't feel like sexual appetite. He can't feel horny. It wouldn't make any sense because he's not embodied.
Whole. He's complete.
But that would only make certain kinds of emotions like I don't think hunger is an emotion, but like hunger and horny.
Yeah.
I can see how they will be linked to the body.
Yeah.
Because they're connected to the body. But something like anger, you can be angry. You can be angry at just an idea. You can watch a film or read a book, and you can be angry at a concept or a character in that book. So that's not linked to the body. So I would agree with you partially. Some emotions are necessarily tied to the body, but some emotions I would
we'll have a physical response, like heart rate will go up, fear, anger, those sorts of things. But it's not necessarily like the idea after death that we are separated temporarily from our bodies. We will still have those aspects of emotions that are not bodily.
Yeah.
But we won't have appetites at that point.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, but Jack, I don't, what I'm saying to you is, do you feel like, it seems to me like you come across as someone who is trying to be as pleasant as possible, in spite of the fact that you're ragingly angry.
Bit harsh, but go on.
You're basically presenting a false version of yourself.
No.
What do you? No way.
It's the I won't deny that there is still a rage and just a real passion that's burning within me.
Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, that's my purpose. Veterans for Peace. Okay. As long as there's wars going on, yep, I've got some anger. As long as there's some injustice in this world, I've got some anger behind me.
Okay.
But my goal is my conscious, and I've shared it publicly. My goal is to be a disciple of Christ, of Jesus. And in that, I focus on his messages of love, of mercy, of forgiveness.
Yeah. But Jack, have you ever heard of something called scream therapy back in the 70s?
I have, yeah.
And you were talking about doing the dark work. Okay, so sometimes in order to resolve something, there's a theory that you need to get in touch with it first and be real about it and stop avoiding it. So, for example, sometimes people have inordinate sexual desires, like for children or for same-sex attraction. They'll find it so scary that they just won't want to deal with it. And they sort of turn off their sexual faucet altogether because they find it super scary. Don't you think the first and most important thing is to tap into it and be honest about it without necessarily acting out on it?
Authenticity is the number one key.
All right.
To knowing yourself, you've got to be honest. Yes.
All right. So, Jack, let's try. I would like to propose we try an exercise.
All right.
You try to say something that is truly an expression of outrage and anger without trying to make it seem like pleasant. You want me to start?
Sure. My mind is blank. Yeah.
All right. Let's say I was in front of a judge. Was it yesterday morning? And he wouldn't answer my question as to why I was being brought before a judge. So I didn't do it in the circumstance, but if I could, I would say to him right here and now, how dare you bring me before you on a legal charge and deprive me of my basic rights, my First Amendment right, my Second Amendment right, and several other of my rights that I have as an American citizen, and deny me them without answering the question that I asked you about the law. Now it's your turn.
And if I can try and help you out, I think what he's asking is, can you get angry about anything? Because you always seem to come across
artificial or a real.
I think he just wants you to get angry about something. If that helps. So.
Like yell at someone.
Dude, there's plenty of evidence of me yelling at people. There's plenty of angry cut already. I'm focused
just
on
for the sake of an experiment. I understand that you're truly not, but you're just like, in other words, you're acting.
golly geez. Ben, I appreciate the if I understood better, maybe I'd be more willing, but I'm not really good at pretending. And I'm actually in a space right now where I don't have any anger. I mean, but what came to mind, I'm still dealing with the injustice of the wrongful termination, the wrongful persecution. I'm still trying to pick up the pieces of my family. My ex-wife turned my son against me. It's been 6 years
Me
since
too.
I've had a conversation. So righteous, there's a lot of anger in there, Ben, but complaining doesn't do us any good.
Can
Cathartic. Would you agree? Sometimes it's cathartic.
It can be, yeah. Yes, it can be. You're right.
can I have a go at that? Just get angry, Jack. Damn it! I think that's what it was.
Well, what about this, Jack? Do you think a boxer needs to be angry to box effectively with his opponent?
He's got to have a purpose within himself. He's got to be committed and devoted. And typically that purpose, yeah, I can imagine a boxer finding reasons to be enraged, finding reasons to.
Well, but yeah, maybe, but actually, I think a boxer can totally respect his opponent and just say, this is this is an athletic endeavor, and I just want to, I wish well, and I wish I want to win against him, but like, may the best man win. I think that could be normal. So why can't you do that?
And I would add that if a boxer did do that, if he wasn't angry, that would make him a better boxer, because he's not getting angry, he's not changing his mind or anything. He's just strictly thinking about how he strategically best can I win this boxing match.
Right.
So I would say it's better if he's not angry.
If he's wildly controlled, frenzied anger, he's going to lose because he's going to blow all his energy early and not be smart. But I also think probably you should kind of feel a little bit of anger, just because you're going to have to hit someone really hard, another one of God's children. So I would say somewhere in the middle is normal. But so Jack, you can't do it. You can't just put on a little bit of anger, just for one sentence.
I'm righteously angry at the fact that the American public has done nothing to prevent the idiocy of Joe Biden and Donald Trump from being the representatives.
That's good. That's good.
Is that something?
How about can you go a little harder?
No, I would say that counts. There was definitely anger there. And you said for one sentence. I would class that as being angry for one sentence.
Could you go hard? Could you go harder though, or do you feel what is the problem? Just if you say how dare anyone vote for this idiot? You know what? Well, why not?
I could, but here. Actually, when I'm angry, you might get me going. What I'm angry at is there's not more people pissed off like me. Here's my story. Maybe you can relate, Ben, to some degrees. I mean, I was angry. I watched my wrongful persecution. I watched people wrongfully accusing me. I watched my career fall apart. I watched my family fall apart.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why more people around me weren't angry with me.
Right.
People got angry at me because my life fell apart.
Right.
But
do you think that it's possible that people are going to be punished for their wrongdoing, although it's not for us to judge them, that they're going to be punished, and it's going to be a sweet experience to have that punishment enacted on them when you've been on the side of the innocent side of things? Do you like it when someone gets what's coming to them, or do you think that that's wrong? Because I love it.
I don't. I actually don't.
See, 'cause I don't think you're in touch with your emotions. I think
I'm
everyone
merciful.
loves when someone who deserves something gets it, not at your hand. You know.
I do and I don't. I'm trying. I am growing consciously. I'm becoming more merciful. I don't want to see people punished as much as situations corrected.
I agree, but sometimes it feels good. It's good to see like craziness stopped by like a police officer, and you know it's good to see the hero stop someone who's a criminal and an evildoer. No,
True.
it's satisfying.
Yes, of
So,
course.
so Ben, if I can ask, you said you were a Christian.
Yes.
So it goes back to what we were talking about before, like justice and mercy.
Yeah.
So you say you enjoy it when something is just and people get what they deserve.
Yeah.
So how do you square that with God also being all merciful when God lets people off and doesn't give them what they deserve, which is the definition of mercy?
Yeah.
So you say God is doing wrong in that situation. When God is merciful to people, you would view that as God being wrong. He's doing the wrong thing. He's not giving people what they deserve, basically.
Yeah, right. So none of us can make a case for ourselves. We all rely on God's mercy because we're all sinners. So he gives us that mercy, but he takes our sins upon himself. So that's how it's resolved. So that the evil, but if we are unrepentant, and just in life in general, there are sometimes fleetingly, but there are times in this evil world when justice does occur. We don't always know whether the person deserved it, but you know, sometimes I think we do know, and it's satisfying. It's satisfying to have retribution paid out in this broken world on people who seem to deserve it. So I do think mostly we should be merciful to others, but there are also elements of Christianity where you say if someone's going to do something to you, then just imagine how they're going to suffer for all eternity. They will pay for what they've done, but leave it to the Lord. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. He doesn't say, I'm a doormat, let's all be doormats. He says, leave it to me. I will make sure that every last injustice is paid for, but you work on you. You work on you first and leave it to me.
So if I can ask it in a slightly different question. So there's just one person who's going up to God. Would you prefer that God was just and give that person what he deserves? Or would you prefer that God is merciful and doesn't give him what he deserves? Because those two things are mutually exclusive. He can't do both.
No, that's not true. Justice and mercy are not incompatible.
Yeah, justice is getting what you deserve. Mercy is not getting what you deserve. That's a direct logical negation. They're exact opposites. You can't be all just and all merciful. That is totally impossible.
What if wait, are you saying that mercy is not just?
Yeah, justice is getting what you deserve. Mercy,
okay, and you're saying there's no point where mercy is justice?
But no, by definition, mercy is not getting what you deserve. You are being let off from what you deserve. It's the exact opposite of justice.
All right. Yes.
I'm not sure that's true.
I think it is.
Injustice would be the opposite of justice, and ruthlessness would be the opposite of mercy. But I understand what you're saying. A just judge, let's say a good father, will be merciful in some circumstances and demand justice in other circumstances.
Yeah. But I'm just talking about a one-off occasion. You cannot give someone what they deserve, being just, and also excuse them from what they deserve, which will be mercy. In a one-off certain circumstance, you cannot do both.
Well, let's that child is obedient to his father, a father can be merciful to that child because, let's say, it's an offense against him personally. He can be merciful. He can choose to be merciful.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a conflict between two kids and one's being unjust to the other, then he has more of a demand to be just and punish because he's defending the other innocent child. So I don't think that makes them opposites. You can choose, if wrong is done to you, to be merciful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can choose one or the other, but you can't choose both. If you are just, then you cannot be merciful. You can choose one or the other,
Okay.
but you can't do both at the same time. Does that make sense? You can't choose both. You can't give someone what they deserve and also excuse them from what they deserve. You can't do both at the same time.
We can move on from this. Life has many paradoxes, and yet
Yeah, that's a paradox, I think.
things can be true. I wanted to I wanted to address a couple of comments and also welcome Flow State. Welcome, brother.
What up?
What's up, guys?
Just real quick, where do I get my fashion inspiration from? Goodwill, and beyond Goodwill, whatever's clean. That's where I get it. And then,
Isn't that where all men get their fashion inspiration from?
right? I think so. Whatever's clean. This I love. Again, Nude Guru, thank you as usual. Peace and joy. That is our default emotion. It's a reason for this. It's perfect to be in joy when focus is away from that. Maybe I missed. It's a compass guide and reminder so you can never be lost without your choice. I do believe that peace and joy is the default. That's how we're normally designed. And this I saw, the co-op. I don't know who you are, but why do you think I doxed you?
I think that must have been that address that someone was spamming in chat.
Oh, maybe. Okay. If that is the case, it was inadvertently, did not intend.
But that wasn't you doxing them. That was someone in the side chat, which you have no control over doxing someone. That's not your fault. You know what I mean?
Thank you. There was this question too, and someone else acknowledged. I have made any ideas I could think of. I've offered everything I could think of to make amends with everybody. Because really, I don't want enemies. There's no reason for us to have enemies in this life. Not if we don't have to. That was it.
All right, Jack, I'm going to bounce. Thank you guys for the questions and the discussion.
Cheers, man. Nice to meet you.
I appreciate you joining. Interesting conversations. Flo, what are your thoughts, man? What are you up to today?
Smooth brain. I don't have any thoughts. I just tested the restream. I'm restreaming you now, so apparently I'm out of YouTube jail. I thought that I had a week. Apparently it's only 3 days or something. So no, I don't know. I only heard a few minutes of the conversation before jumping up. But I would on the just. I mean, did you want to move on from that, or are we still there? The justice, because I think that at some point, people who live by the sword die by the sword, and they chose the sword, right? So I don't know that I view it as punishment so much as people choosing their own path, right? And if you choose to have more sword in your life, you have more sword in all aspects of your life, not just with you behind the hilt.
Yeah, but the point is, it's not the person, it's the judge. I'm saying it's not the person and what you do. I get what you're saying, but we were talking about like the judge. The judge can't give you what you deserve and also not give you what you deserve. You know what I'm saying?
My man, Since I'm on a restream, I'm gonna you get a fly. I'll stream later tonight, and you've got a flyover on standby.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, if a person chooses to do more wrong than good, then he's going to get what's coming to him. But it's not from the person's point of view. It's from the person that's judging him point of view. And the judge can't both give him what he deserves and not give him what he deserves at the same time. That's like.
But I mean, I view it more in karmic sense. Like the judge isn't giving him what he deserves. He chose this course of hostility, right? And so when you choose to have more aggression, that's why I choose, like, as much as I love fucking this internet drama and rah and all I love conflict. I'm not gonna lie, I do. I recognize that, like, at least for my beliefs, like, I try to limit it because I don't want it coming to all aspects of my life. I've been there, I've done that. Solitary confinement's not fun. And so I just try to, that's just how I view things.
Yeah, and my point is, it's really got nothing to do with God or religion or anything. It's just purely a logical point. I'm saying, like, any being or anyone cannot give someone what they deserve and also not give someone what they deserve. It's just a purely logical point. They're mutually exclusive. They're direct logical negations. It is, for anyone or any being, it is literally impossible. You know what I mean? That's my only point.
Mm-hmm. Jack, what are you looking at?
I'm just zoning out.
Oh, you had the resting angry cop face for a second.
No, I was just letting it roll out. I'm not sure what the distinction or disagreement purpose for. I just I know the value of, actually, I guess the two together, mercy and justice. There's a time and a place for all things. And really, we should be trying to achieve all things. We should be trying to achieve mercy and justice.
Yeah, but Jack, you said you studied philosophy. You know about the laws of logic. This might explain it to you better. You know the law of non-contradiction and the law of identity.
There's lots of observations on logic and rhetoric that have been made. I'm not certain of the specific rules you're referring to, but
you know the three basic laws of logic: the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, and the law of excluded middle.
okay.
What I'm saying is the law of identity is a thing cannot be the thing that it is and not the thing that it is in the same time, in the same way. And the law of non-contradiction, like, things can't contradict themselves. That's what I'm saying. So if you agree with the laws of logic, you have to agree that's... I'm just repeating myself. It's impossible, due to the laws of logic, that you can do something and do the exact opposite of that thing at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying with justice and mercy. You cannot...
Okay. Great. Can we move on? We've been beating this horse for quite a while, Wildheart. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I'm weird. I get like upset and annoyed when I don't think people are understanding what I'm saying. So I apologize for that. Yeah.
That's actually a common thing. I do get it. I guess what I'm trying to point out too, and what I've been trying to express, is a lot of our confusion and disagreement, they're really in our mind. Does it matter? Does it matter that we found this contradiction in the universal field of all that could be possible? It's interesting. It's a good thing to keep in mind. But in application, in application of day-to-day life, what I'm suggesting is, we live in the now. Right now is the only time we can be. And honestly, I think mercy has been forgotten. There's a place for mercy. And this world, we've been so focused on justice, right? But it's not really justice this society has been going after as much as it has been punishment and revenge and retribution, compensation. We've got better ways of living available for us.
Yeah.
That's
okay. Yeah, we can change topic.
Thanks, man. Well, the real, I guess the general topic I really wanted to bring out today was getting to know ourselves, having trust in the journey, trust that, the journey is happening, whether we understand or not, whether we like it or not, the journey is happening. We're all progressing through time. And the idea is to have some peace, have faith in yourself, trust in yourself, have faith in the journey, and see what we can accomplish.
I dig the fuck out of that sentiment, and I agree with all of it. I think this is the first time in my history that I've been on here, and everything that you said, I totally agree with.
It's been a
Now
while.
we can just not talk about capitalism or communism at all for the rest of the stream. We'll have a perfect. This is what you've been wanting.
I know. Now we're just trying to avoid the economics.
And now you've got it, and you're like, fuck, this is boring. I need some disagreement.
No. Peace is what I hope for, what I see. Because when we start getting when we get into the realm of agreement, that's where we can really start building on some stuff.
Yeah. Why can't we be friends and all that? Yeah.
I really like, and thank you, Chuck, for the bond fund. I really like the sentiment that life is the journey, because I realized, luckily, thank God, I realized fairly young in my life that you go to school so that you can get into high school, so you can get into college, you can get a career, so you can retire. And people's mindset is they're always waiting to start life. At the next stage is when life starts, and then you're old, you're retired, and people just fucking die. And so I don't live my life like that. I don't think people should. I think it's one of the greater mind traps of our world, is thinking that what we're doing now is just for what, and then people wait to die for life after death. I mean, I think that constant deference of life while we're living it the whole time is a huge sink of people's potential and happiness in life.
Took me a long time, over 40 years, to realize that. What you were describing, I heard someone else describe that too. We live in preparation, preparing for the next stage of life, and really all we're doing is wasting time preparing for death.
But even at 40, which is later than I realized it, that's still way earlier than a ton of people realize it.
Yes, it is. And that's where...
I mean, most people don't realize it until they're drawing Social Security.
Or, on the deathbed, and then finally get that realization, oh shit, I missed out.
Yeah.
And this is where I said it earlier. I humbly, consciously, I give all credit for the good to God. By God's grace, I woke up. By God's grace, I was able to find some sanity before, another 30, 40 years had gone by.
But so again, I've got to disagree with that.
Right.
No, you could be right. It could be down to God. But is it possible that could happen without God? I still don't understand why you're giving credit to God. Could you not just have woke up one day and realised all that just due to your own mind and your thought processes, and I still don't understand why you're giving God the credit. That's something that happened in your mind that could have happened without God. That's at least possible. Do you know what I mean?
That's only possible if you can believe that things can happen without God. See, and I know I rejected a lot of these ideas for a long time, but I don't know how to explain it any differently than what I'm doing. What I've come to realize, I only believe in me, right? I only believe that I am. I have memories of the past. I can imagine the future. I can perceive feelings and sensations of this moment now, but as soon as this now is gone, it's memories. I don't exist. The only thing that exists, I mean, I don't exist beyond mind and thought and feeling within me. So the only thing that exists in my mind is God. God is that which is real. That which is real has allowed me to be. That which is real has allowed me the opportunities to learn, the opportunities to change and discover.
So would you describe, is your definition of God that which is real? Because I wouldn't argue with that. If you're saying your definition of God is that which is real, then that which is real definitely exists. If that's what you're calling God, then I would agree that your God exists. I don't have a problem with that. Do you know what I mean? I agree that that which is real definitely exists. Is that how you define God? That which is real?
I added the real part. The word that in my development, I started accepting God is that which is.
Which is?
All that is. All that is, all that ever was, all that ever will be is God. I perceive what God allows me to see and to know. That's it. I don't see or perceive anything that God does not want me to perceive or to know.
So do you think that God has agency? That would be a difference. Do you believe that God is like a person or a being that has agency? He can make decisions. That would distinguish between the two.
I don't know how to answer that because I don't consider God in a form like us.
Oh,
if
yeah.
any,
Yeah. So.
if anything, what I see our relationship as, we are within the mind of God. That's how I see us, as we are imagined beings. God imagined and created all that is, and then we imagine and create our own lives through that which is.
That answers the question. If you're saying that God has a mind, then
Yes.
God has agency.
Okay.
So God is not all that is real. He's outside of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is outside of that, and all that is yes.
Yeah. So I would describe you as a panentheist.
Very
You believe that God is the universe, but he's also something else. God is the universe plus something else. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you.
Plus
I
one.
think that's close to what I understand. But
yeah, that's fine.
my questions really came down to, what am I? Right? And the more I started trying to figure out what am I, that's when I realized what I am is my mind. What I know, it's my thoughts, my perception, and it's what I feel. It's my desires. Because what I think and feel, that creates my actions, and my actions show the world what I am. So what I am is my thoughts and emotions, the spirit. And that's what we all are. We are all the spirit that's that is beyond, it's within and beyond just the form of who we are.
Yeah. And I'm going to leave you alone now. I've got to go, but it's been great, Jack. And I'm sorry if I annoyed you too much. I apologize.
No, Wild Heart, I appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. And good to see you close there.
Hey, good talking to you again. That's a nice level you got behind you too. That motherfucker must be like 6 feet long. That's a 5 foot.
Yeah.
That You can level skyscrapers with that thing.
Yeah, I used to be a plasterer. That's why I've got it. Yeah. Cheers, man. Bye.
Later.
Blessings. Thank you, brother. Hey, and Nude Guru, you're right again. You're right. Go deeper than the thoughts and the emotions. You're right. I'm not even that. We're not even just the thoughts and the emotions. We are the observer of, the experiencer of the thoughts and the emotions. What a magical experience this is. And thank you, Flo. There you dropped back. I didn't know if you took off or what.
I'm such like a hoarder of tabs that when I try to click a different tab, the X button takes up the whole thing, and I clicked the wrong X. It's like I've got window after window with like 12 tabs open, and none of them are important enough for me to bookmark, but they're all too important for me to close.
I'm guilty of the same pattern, my friend. Organization is not my strongest suit, and I get it. Where were we going with that? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, my friend? This is Saturday, right?
Friday. Is it? Oh, it is Saturday.
It is
I don't
Saturday.
fucking know. We're both on streamer hours. Sort of lose touch with the real world. This place has its own schedule.
It does. It really does. It's another distinct world that's separate from the rest of the world, and yet, holy cows. Well, this morning I noticed it's St. Patrick's Day weekend. And so this morning, as I was heading through downtown about 10:15 in the morning, I saw people like I used to do with their day drinking t-shirts on, heading to the bars. 10 in the morning for St. Patty Day parade.
Do you see Leah Bordeaux's comment over there? She wants me to tell you that you're what the kids call based.
I don't know what based means.
It's a compliment. It means cool. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so
actually,
go ahead.
That just sort of cued a thought from last night that I didn't get in, which is when you were up there, Lindsay and a lot of people were giving me and you as well credit for being emotionally detached from things. I would say that you might have thicker skin than me. Like you put up with, like you're durable.
I'll receive that as a compliment.
It's meant as a compliment.
I get that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, different situations maybe, because I've seen you in situations too where I'm like, damn, nice work. Okay, where I don't know. And so here's a trigger for both of us.
I was just talking. We can't barely hear him. It's all right.
Y'all cupcaking over here? Is there any
I was just talking to M before I jumped up here, and I was saying there's certain people like iFi and Scott 2B that I simultaneously love and want around, but also want to murder and hide under the floorboards.
Jack and I were talking about murder.
Oh my goodness! Here, I'm turning you up a bit, Scott.
But when I ran a poll,
how you guys doing?
We're good. When I ran, I like to run polls on my panels, and one of them, a recurring one, is because you can only do 4 options, right? So I got to do like tournament style. But one is who's the most psychopathic, and another one, which was Sasquatch won, and I was second. But when I ran who's the most likely to be a serial killer, Rocky Shepherd won that one by a massive margin.
You can see that. You can
That's
see that.
interesting.
Hey,
Which makes sense because, like, clinically, I probably am quite psychopathic. But in reality, like, I don't want people's biology around me. I don't want any of that. I don't want Scott stinking up the closet.
I only did that once.
Welcome, Paul. How are you today? How are we today? Are you there?
Greetings, Jack Talcott.
How are you? How you feeling? You
Blessed.
Huh?
Oh, I was doing Paul's voice for Paul.
Oh.
Feeling blessed, brother.
Oh. Seemed fired up earlier, so I wasn't sure how
He's
things
been
were.
fired up for a hot minute. He challenged me to Street Beef's fight, and then he backed out of it, all in the same swoop.
Street Beefs coming to a theater near you. That should be
I
fun.
don't know. It's an interesting adventure we have found ourselves in, and I'm curious where all this is going to lead. I have been
So are we.
Sanitarium.
Yeah.
That's
Well-
what that's exactly what fucking Provo pointed out last night.
I know. I heard that, and it's true. It is true.
It is. I hadn't thought about it. Like I hadn't thought about it in that depth. He's analyzed it, and I think that he's dead right. I realize I'm gonna have to find a new struggle.
Who's making that noise? Is that
That's
you, Scott?
Scott, get out of the storage unit.
Golly, jeez.
I was just sitting down. I had to move the dogs, and it was a little project. All good now, though.
Thank you.
Do you know that when Scott joins panels, he's also watching TV in the background? That's why he's got those light changes. And Scott, Jesus.
What? Is there a problem with that?
You're making noise.
No, you were unmuted still.
Oh, what was I doing?
Making
don't know.
noise.
Ah,
Right.
grunting a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm getting ready to do a bong hit. Does anybody want to join me?
As your lawyers, I don't know where. Well, Jack is probably allowed to do bong hits in his state for sure.
Yes, it's legal here.
I'm good. I've got an edict.
What's that?
I go to the dispensary. I get it from the proper source.
Do you have to light that bowl from the bottom, Scott?
No. Although I do have some of those when I get the live butter and sauce and shit like that. But no, I don't
think Jack got the reference. That tells us Jack's hanging around the right crowd.
Yeah, right. Unlike me and Flow State over here.
I'm not sure what is going on.
You probably want to stay away from it altogether, Jack. It's a good thing.
Anybody who lights the bowl from the bottom is melting down crystals in the bowl.
Oh, okay. I thought it might be something like that, but
Yeah.
don't they have? Isn't there a cannabis resin product like that though too? Where you?
Yeah, and that shit's way too strong for me. I can't even smoke nug. It's weird. I can handle just about anything except for THC and melatonin. Those two things just put me on my ass.
Flow State, have you heard of Rick Simpson's oil?
Yes, I have. I think they sell that stuff up here. That's like the THC derivative that's just barely on this side of legal, right?
That's the only time it'll. Oh, excuse me. Hang on.
We lost him.
I just had a sneeze come on. Excuse me. I'll tell you, it's been a long time since I've been that fucking twisted, and I literally take that sparingly now. But I did I probably did 9-10 milligrams or whatever it is, a lot one night. Did a little more, wasn't feeling it, did a little more, and then all of a sudden was going, wait, what the fuck?
See, that's not even appealing to. I don't know why. I've just never. it's I don't know. It's not euphoric enough or something. Hard drugs and liquor only, please.
Rick Simpson's very very euphoric. It was very euphoric. I'll tell you that. I was super super high, and that was a problem, because I couldn't come down. But at any rate, that's the only thing that does that to me anymore.
I see that Mitch down there is in fighting form. I love Mitch has been in peak attack mode for at least 3 days now, and it seems like he's still going. And there's few things that bring me more joy than Mitch in attack mode.
He's pretty relentless, that's for sure.
People go after him quite a bit. He doesn't seem to be fazed by it either.
Tarek, go suck a dick and pay your debt. That's all I got to say to you.
Right.
Why is Flo not adopting my cause? Because you're retarded, Tarek. Now pay Mitch.
Hey, that seems to be much of what's going on. People are so caught up. You need to fight my cause. That's what Snafu's doing.
That's exactly what Snafu was doing. He basically forced me into a situation where I had to either adopt his cause or not. So it forced me to do due diligence, look into it, find out that he's a complete liar. Yeah. And now Monograph is the homie. And so the crew is the glue,
It's interesting.
Why do you think he rattles off like that at random? I mean, is it for attention? Is he just seeking attention, good, bad, or indifferent?
I think that he's vindictive and vengeful, but he has no actual power in his life. And so he compensates by reporting people's channels and trying to just bulldoze over them. It's a lazy, brain dead way of attack. He just tries to overpower people.
What if the crew was actually different personalities of his own person, but he doesn't know them all? So he's like...
I've actually had that thought.
Very suspect.
It's insanity. There is absolute insanity all around, online, offline. I see it, and it's like I don't know what to do to help people see themselves anymore. They get offended when you try and show them themselves.
Yes, they do.
Right? They get offended and all.
Just let them be themselves. That's what I do. I just try to appreciate people for the insane fucking monkeys that we are.
I love that Fruitcakes in the Kitchen Jimmy Buffett song. It kind of explains it.
I don't know. Nobody knows your pop culture references ever, Scott.
Go back if you get a chance.
No, I'm not going to.
There's a great song that talks about us all.
Okay.
That's because you're a pansy, Flo. That's okay though.
I know. Paul's already told me.
Well, do you wax pansy often?
I don't even understand what you're asking me. I feel like it's a gotcha.
Good feeling.
Look,
good feeling.
You're killing Jack Talcott here. Yeah. Did you see that?
I wasn't looking. I'm sorry, Jack. I'll stop.
Well, thank you. I'm actually thinking maybe it is time to wrap up. The energy's changed.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Well, and we'll break this, and maybe other things will happen later.
All right. Well, thanks for having me up, and I've got a stream scheduled for 9:30. Now that I'm out of jail again, I just realized it. All are welcome and invited. If it's a tentative time, so I may start earlier. If I'm gonna go see what Z's up to, but anyways,
today's Saturday. He's not.
oh, he's not. He's not. Okay,
He might
so
be. He might be. I haven't looked.
I
but
forgot that he doesn't do weekends normally, so I probably will start earlier. But anyways, thanks for having me up again, Scott. Stay out of those storage units, you piece of shit.
You piece of shit. Get out of here. Fucking rat in the fucking corner.
Thank you, Flo. Scott?
Jack Mack and the heart attack. What is the fact?
Wrapping up, brother. Last word?
Give me one single fact today that made you feel good. That's all I want to know. Just one single fact that Jack went, oh man, that was neat.
Online or offline?
Doesn't matter. Whatever you choose.
Well, there was a lot of good moments.
I'll accept that. See?
Thank you. Yeah.
You have a good one, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Respect, Scott. Thank you.
Peace.
Brothers and sisters, thank you sincerely. All you who joined the panel, joined the stream, joined the restream and the other channel, thank you. Don't forget to hit the like, share some support. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to wherever you're watching, at least here, please. Appreciate it. The idea, believe, trust, and know, right? Happy Saturday to us all. Believe in yourself. Trust in the journey. Trust in what is real. That's what I've been learning for myself. Make the most of every moment. Every moment of every day, we get the option to choose. That's the gift of life, the gift of free will, the power of our mind. Don't give it away. Don't lose your power because you forget, and you forget because you're confused. Don't give your time away to confusion. Don't give your time away to regret, to hate, to discontent. Use your time sincerely each day. We all have the same number of seconds each day. And in that time that we're awake, that's our time to be. And you know what? I'm not going to keep going on and on. Sincerely, brothers and sisters, all of you who joined, I truly do appreciate it. The idea for this Saturday evening is to live freely, know you, trust in you, enjoy the journey, capture the moments. And Scott had a good question on his way out. What was the highlight of today? Admittedly, I paused. There were so many moments of gratitude, and I've cried a couple of times today, I think. Typically cry at least once or twice from gratitude and just feelings of joy and peace and love and anticipation. And brothers and sisters, that is what moves me. My faith moves me. My love moves me. The love I feel, the love you feel is the love who you are. Our true state of being is joyful. It's peaceful. It's full. Anyway, brothers and sisters, again, please tune in again next time. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless us all. Thank you.